that, right? He's walking in. He's like, man, you are. I'm like, yeah.
That's what I do. Yeah, you
I
just
need,
gotta tell these people, man.
I
Gotta
need
tell these.
2 routers. I got two. How many people in America have 2 separate accounts in one house, Mike?
Usually it's and usually it's so your kids can stream and stuff. In this case, it's like you gotta go loud, baby.
Yeah. I'm like, look, I need my internet to be flawless. I need.
Yeah,
I'm like,
totally.
look, do you see this? I'm telling him, sure he's in the house. He goes, man, yeah, you are.
That's funny. That's funny, man.
What's up, Roundup homies? Good to see you guys. I haven't seen you this week.
Happening.
My house is a madhouse, so just deal with it, y'all. Unfortunately, how it's gonna be.
That's life, man.
Yeah, that's just life. I haven't.
It's a beautiful life, man. When I used to go to church, my pastor used to say, "I'd rather have a sound of kids than the sound of no kids."
That's a good point.
You know, I'd rather hear them screaming than hear silence.
What you mean? You still go to church no more? You didn't walk away from the church, Mike?
Oh no, I'm saying when I used to pastor. When I used to
pastor.
Oh,
I thought you said when you used to go to church.
No, when my pastor used to say that at my old church back in Michigan, he used to say, you know, when the kids were all messing stuff up, knocking stuff over, he'd be like, "Better than not having them here."
That's true.
You know, and I'm like, hey, you got a point on that one, brother.
Good to see you guys. Come on in, Roundup. Tonight we're talking about raising private money. We're opening the doors. Mike and I are going to be doing a 2-day event. Man, so much stuff. I'm Chris Haskins, you guys. Thank you for coming up, Roundup homies. My mission in ministry is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. You guys have given me the honor. I feel like I'm kind of the pilot for this evening, the co-pilot. Me and Mike are going to kind of tell you what we're doing to help you raise millions of dollars for yourself. And I feel so comfortable because I'm like, this is what we do. We raise money to do real estate. Mike Fritz.
Hey, what's happening, my friend? It's always good to hang with you and your amazing fam. I hope you all are doing well, man. Are you guys starting to get a little colder up there in Virginia, or are you guys still in perfect weather?
No, we get a little chilly. Yeah, it got down to the 40s the last couple of nights. So yeah, we're
figured, yeah, man. You guys be getting because it's in the morning. I'm here in Phoenix. It's 60, so I figured you got to be getting cold.
That's right, you lucky dog. You got.
Yeah, we're going into the time of why we live here, man. Be able to play golf all year long.
60 degrees is like an ice storm for you, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it'll get a little cooler in the desert, but yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You like this view, Mike, or you want me to take it back out? Which one you like better?
Yeah, take it out a little bit. Yeah, I feel like, Chris, I'm not good looking enough to have it that close. I'm not the GQ that you need to be up that close, bro. You need to back it on up.
Okay. We have fun here, y'all. We have fun.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, I'm going to Chris's barber here pretty soon anyway, and so I'm thinking, let's back that camera up, baby.
What are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do?
That's right.
We got a new member here, Vincent. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for joining the Roundup Network. You help us to keep bringing guys like Mike and all my guests on here because I don't get paid for this stuff. I do this because I do it because it needs to be done. I make content. I create all these videos for you, not because I have to do it. It's what needs to be done. So, Vincent, well, thank you so much. We'll get your questions answered first. And if anybody else wants to join, there's a button right there that says join now to help us continue to create content and keep the channel going, right? It costs you nothing but a large Starbucks coffee a month. So, Mike, let's talk about this crazy thing called private money. I didn't learn about it until about 2010. I call it doing real estate the right way. Like you know how we have our little sayings. I think raising private money is the right way to run business, and I feel that going conventionally to raise money is the wrong way. Now, I say that lightly because either way, as long as you get it done, but I just feel one is more scalable and one is going to be more constricted. I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah. I think once you start going towards raising private money, and if you've never heard that term, sometimes that term can even feel cumbersome. Like, what does that even mean? And like that term can just feel a little weird. And private money is just from everyday people. It's from the person you sit next to at church and Thanksgiving and you take a walk with and you go sit next to. And watch kids play ball together. Like, it's just average, everyday people that give us money for real estate. Now, when I first heard that concept, that normal, average, everyday people give people money for real estate, I thought that was crazy. I'm like, there's no way that's true. I'm like, there's no way that actually happens. That's
something,
legal.
right?
Yeah. And it does. It happens all the time. And what I've learned in this process is no matter where you're at in your real estate journey, if you're just starting out or if you're farther down the road, maybe you've been wholesaling for a year or two, or you've been fixing and flipping or whatever, doing some single family rentals, doing some lease options, sub twos, whatever you're into, what I've realized is private money just allows you to be in the driver's seat and go a little bit faster if you want to. And it really just kind of removes all the blocks. It really adds speed, because the one thing, if you're going to leverage banks, they're going to create two problems for you. Number one, they're going to look at every corner of your life and make sure you check out on this and check out on this and check on this before they give you any money. And the second thing is it's a lot of times it's a lot more risk. And so you can leverage this power of this private money game. And you know what's cool about this, Chris? I love about this. It doesn't matter if you're buying a single family home, multifamily, single, subject to fix and flip, even a business. I'm buying a business right now using other people's money. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't matter. And I think that's the power of this strategy is we use it for real estate primarily. But it's not, it's just a tool to really help you get your career going, your real estate career going. Because I don't know about you, Chris, but I didn't start off full time. I started off as a side hustle in real estate, just doing it a little bit on the side. And so I don't, most of us don't start off full time. So we have to figure out a way to make it make money. And by leveraging private money, that's one way you can do that. I mean, at least that's what I found. How about you, man? When you started off, how did it run into your life? And you know, what hit you? Because for me, it's like, man, I didn't even know this was even a world. When I heard about this, I'm like, what? You know what I mean?
That's something, right? You're like, what in the world? What is this? Is this even a thing? Well, yeah, that's an excellent point. When the way you're coming into the thing, you're doing a bunch of multifamily stuff. I'm doing more single family. However, money is money. Doesn't
exactly
have to be your money. It took me a while to understand that you do. Yes, you do need money for real estate. It doesn't have to be yours. So I was coming up using bank money. I just went to the bank. I'm like, I've got my down payment. Like, I don't even know what a down payment is anymore. I'm like, what is a down payment?
Right.
It doesn't even register.
Yeah, right.
But back then, I'm like, down payment, 20%. I need to raise my 20%. So I was doing one house at a time because I had 20, 30 grand, right? So I would bring my down payment. And then after all my money went in, my business was stuck in that one house. So I'm like, man, how can I do more than one house? How is it possible?
Exactly.
That's when I kind of went on a hunt to just get educated and get some wisdom from some people that have been here before me to understand how we leverage the power of other people's money. It doesn't have to be money in their bank. It can be their IRA money. It can be investment capital that they have. And we turn that into income producing capital for that person.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I remember it was 2014-ish, 15-ish. I went to a real estate seminar and it was teaching how to buy these properties off the tax auction. Maybe some of you've heard of that or heard Chris talk about it, or somebody talk about you go to these auctions and you buy these properties on back taxes. So a lot of times you can get great deals, but you got to pay cash the second you close. There's no go get loan after you close. You got to hand a check the second you walk out, or they ain't giving you nothing.
They don't even understand that language. They don't know go get loan.
They're like, go get a loan. No, you got to give me money like today, like cashier's check too. Not like I'm gonna write you. Like, I mean, you got to have money. So when I was going to go do that, I asked the guy running the seminar, I'm like, okay, but what if you don't have the 40, 50, 60, 80 grand that I'm going to buy these homes on? What if you don't have that? And he goes, well, you could raise private money. And I'm not kidding you. The first thing I said was, that's a great idea. What is private money? And because I had no clue. And he says, well, private money is, man, you go get these like average everyday people. And, you know, I mean, think about a dentist down the road. He doesn't want to go take time. He doesn't have the time to go learn real estate. He'll give you money for your deals to make a better return than he's going to make in the stock market. I'm like, that's an interesting angle. So we could go partner with these people that don't want to take all the time to be on Chris Haskins' channel and be with us at our event coming up. They don't have time. They got to be cleaning teeth or doing surgeries or whatever. They don't have all that time. And it hit me that, wow, there's a lot of people out there that could get into real estate without having to learn all the stuff. That's the value I could bring, and that's a really powerful partnership, I think.
You know what, Mike? I want to make sure that I preface this by saying, Roundup, we're going to get into a lot of stuff tonight, but I want to make sure that I want you to understand who this is not for. Okay. I want to make sure I'm crystal clear. Y'all know I got love for you. This is not for somebody that has never done a real estate transaction where you're going to go raise all this money from ordinary people. I do not want you starting out with zero skills, going out there borrowing ma and pa's money and putting it into a piece of real estate, and you don't know what the heck you're doing.
Yeah, no, that's huge. That's really, really huge. And that's why we have a lot of people ask us, says, yeah, but man, if I accept $50,000 or 100 or whatever the number is, what if I lose it? And I actually am glad people are asking that. I think I'm going to say, I'm glad people are asking that question. But one of the things that you have to, it will do one of two things. That question will instill fear and stop you, or it will instill inquiry, and you'll start learning and saying, okay, I want to learn all this stuff.
Get educated.
It either creates a student or it creates paralysis. Mm-hmm. And so you get, the cool thing is you get to decide which one that is. And I don't think it has to, the power of YouTube and the power of these events and the power of having people that have gone before you. You don't have to go in blind. I was kind of going in blind until I got in with somebody that knew what the heck they were doing.
Good. So, Mike, you got some slides here. You want to show them? Some people, I know they're busy. If you guys want to, we're Mike and I we are doing a 2-day live virtual training. We're going to get into some of the moving parts tonight, so you know exactly what it is. All it is going to cost you nothing but a cup of coffee. That's it. I mean, I don't think we're going to ever do this again. Mike has convinced me to do this. I'm like, a lot of time. We're going to spend 2 days with you, but Mike's going to go over all the stuff, how this works. But for my busy individuals, you can go ahead and look in the video description. But we're still going to stay on here so you guys know exactly what we're going to cover. Yeah, Mike, absolutely. You got some slides and stuff. Go ahead, brother.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let me pull this up and let me know if you all can see that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So when you come to the private money world, and Chris is gonna talk a lot about this as well, because about a year ago, Chris and I really started talking about private money, and we started realizing that so many people have so many questions around this. And it's interesting, in Chris's endeavors in real estate, he's focused on one side of private money, and I've focused on another. There's two different ways you can have investors give you money, and there's a lot of ways you can structure it. But the two primary ways is there's called private equity investors and lenders. So you can have a private person that gives you money and they take equity in the deal. They own 20% of the deal, or 30 or 40 or 50 or even more, depending on how you structure that deal. And then you have a lender that is just like a private bank. They give you money and they charge you a percentage of interest rate, just like a bank would, APR, annual percentage rate. A lot of times when people say $100,000, 10%, okay, that's 10 grand. Well, 10 grand over what? That's annual. That's yearly percentage rate. Well, these two different private money people are really good to know, because the way I want you to see this as a toolbox, these are different tools in your toolbox. So I deal a lot on the private equity. Chris deals a lot with the lenders. And that's honestly why we partnered on this event coming up, because we said, you know what? There's nobody really out there that comes from both angles. So you might be doing a fix and flip, and it might make way more sense to go on the lender side. Or you might find somebody that's like, hey, I'll give you money for fix and flips, but I kind of want to be an equity partner. Well, then you'll know that structure, and the partner is, or the power of that is, it just gives you more options when you do a deal. Because there's one thing I've realized, and Chris, you can speak to this as much as I, more than I can, because you've done so many different styles of real estate. But real estate is probably one of the most diverse industries, meaning the different ways to do things that I've ever seen. There's so many ways to do real estate, so many ways.
I think it's so cool because I don't touch any deals like you do. I'm like you can literally have your lane and stay in that lane and become a millionaire in that lane, And
absolutely. Yeah. You could do single family rentals, and people have done this. Chris and I know a guy that does this up in New York, single family rentals, and has become a deca millionaire over and over again. And you've got other guys that are multifamily guys, and they, my mentor, he makes $1 million every time he closes on a multifamily deal. And so it doesn't matter. Or you've got people that do subject to or wholesale, and there's so many different ways. But one of the things we've realized, there's one line that ties a lot of this together. If you get the money problem fixed,
raising money.
you can do it all, baby. You can do it
Sounds
all.
simple, doesn't it? Sounds like it's really easy to do.
I know. And this is why we're here tonight. By the way, at the end, make sure you put your questions in. Chris and I'll throw some answers out at you. Put some questions in. We love that. But I want you all to see the two different types of investors, private equity and lending. If it's okay, I'm going to walk through a little bit of the difference of the nuance of these investors so you guys kind of understand. So when we're talking about equity, and this is really where I hang, and then we're going to go to the lending, and that's where Chris hangs with his a lot of his deals, or all his deals. So private equity, and Chris, it's so funny. When I first met you and realized how you were doing things, your investors, they don't even think equity. They don't even think equity. And my investors, they wouldn't even think lending. They're like, I don't want a percentage. I want a piece of the deal. It's just so interesting. The power of that, though, is you can know there's different people out there, and you can offer different deals to different investors depending on what their palate is and what they want.
Yeah.
And so private equity. So here's what I do. Number one, they get paid when the deal makes money. So you don't pay them unless the deal performs. And sometimes we buy multifamily deals, quite frankly, that are struggling. That's why we buy them. It's like a fix and flip. You buy a property that's distressed and you fix it up. We do that.
Is that called underperforming, Mike?
Yeah, we want to buy all underperforming assets because the power of underperforming assets is when you bring them up to performing, it raises the value just like a fix and flip. A lot of people get nervous about the multifamily space. It's just a big fix and flip with more doors. That's all it is. We're just turning the units, putting new bathrooms and kitchens in, and raising the rents, and putting bathrooms and kitchens in, raising the rent, put a little bit of sex appeal out on the curb, and then we're raising rents. And then as the community gets better and more healthy, we can sell it for more money. It's a simple process if you're just commit to learning it. But the cool thing about equity, they don't make money till the deal makes money. And they're paid on the cash flow and the upside. So there's two different things in a deal like this. Cash flow, that's the money coming in every month. Upside, that's the profit. So when we sell that property or refinance that property, there's a bulk of cash. They get part of that bulk of cash because they own equity in the deal, right? They own that partnership. So they own equity in that deal. They actually own equity in the deal. And this is where it's really different from a lender, is they get a piece of the pie, if you will. And there's something in this space called a preferred return. And so when we give away a preferred return, this means that we pay our investors before we pay ourselves. So a lot of our deals will give us 6% preferred, meaning they make 6% on their money before we make anything. And that lets them know, hey, you're going to earn before I earn, to make sure as the deal gets healthy, you're getting paid, which lets them know that, that we're willing to take a back seat to the profit in order that you win. That makes them feel a little bit better about the deal, because we are buying undervalued properties, like Chris just said, right? But this is more expensive, right? You're going to see in a minute, as Chris talks a little bit about the lending side, giving equity away is more expensive. It is a more expensive route. Now, you might say, well, Mike, if it's more expensive, why would you do that? Well, a lot of times because these properties are underperforming, because we don't pay until the deal makes money, right? Because it's more, we're willing to give away more, but not have to give it away when the property isn't earning that money. And this is a powerful differential. Now, I also want you to see with private equity, this is not always the case, but sometimes we partner with private money and banks. You don't always have to. Some of my buddies are buying multifamily properties right now, and they're just paying cash for them because as the interest rates get higher, they found that they can go and get private money for just as good. And so, but sometimes those investors go on the loan, sometimes they don't. But this equity play is best used for a long-term buy and hold. It's best used for long-term, because in a fix and flip model, you're going to see in a minute when we talk about the lending side, that's a better fit for those short-termer investments. So you don't give away so much money for a short period of hold. And it's almost used exclusively in commercial real estate. Like if you're doing industrial or student housing or multifamily or office or retail or any of that, it's storage units. It's really, really primarily, you don't really see a lot of lending in the commercial real estate space. You just don't. Sometimes it's easier to sell to my market because we can show them you're going to make a much larger return on your money. But in the equity space, you need to keep leads coming in. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And the reason you need to keep leads coming in is because let's say I have a doctor that has 250 grand. They invest that and I hold it for 3 years. Well, after they invest that 250 grand, okay, they don't have any more capital. So I got to go find another investor. Whereas with lending, they lend you that for 6, 8, 10 months. You give it back and then you can reuse it again. So you do have to keep leads coming in with this model. Okay. You have to keep leads coming in with this model. All right. And then we've got this other model. We've got this other model called the lending model or the private lender. And Chris has mastered this. Chris, define a little bit what a lender is for you so that they understand, like, I mean, you do fix and flips all the time. I bet I haven't even talked to you about this, but I bet you have one going right now, or you've just closed one recently.
Yeah, 3.
And 3. There you go. And you're probably using lenders on to some level on one or all of them.
All of them. Yeah,
all of
this
them.
is what we do. Yeah.
And so, what does that look like for you? So, how does that look for you, so people can see the little bit of difference, and then we'll move into some of the bullet points.
Yeah, I just want people to understand that we are working with ordinary people. This is a people business, y'all. This is I can't drive this at home enough to you. Every loan I've ever done had to be signed by a human being. Every house that I've sold had to be listed by a realtor, which is a human. Every home inspector, every appraiser, every person that's going to come, a contractor to come. This is a I cannot, the underwriters, everything has to be, I don't care. Like a lot of people say, well, I'm going to just automate everything. Or this is an institutional borrower, or something like a company owns a bunch of houses. They still have to have a signature by some human somewhere to do business. All right. So that's the first thing that took me. And my mentor used to always say, Chris, this is a people. He just told me this all the time.
Yeah.
We borrow money, but
just to underline that. So we just had a deal, probably the hardest deal I've had to close in my lifetime. We're closing next week, and we've had to raise a lot of capital. And if this tells you anything, we got to the end of the deal, and because interest rates have gone up, the bank required us to bring more money to the table because we were using bank and private money. And had I not had those relationships, I wouldn't be able to close. Had I not had somebody up to call, say, hey, I need a little bit more capital on this deal. And they're like, okay, how much you need? I knew a dentist that just sold his practice in Canada, and he's got $2.5 million sitting in a bank, kind of placing it in different opportunities.
Yeah.
My point in saying that is, I don't tell you that to impress you. I couldn't care less about that. I really tell you that to say, Chris does not go out begging people for money. I guarantee it.
Oh,
I'll let him. And I don't either. We market, but I will tell you, I want to preface this. And Chris, I want you to speak to this too. You want to be very careful who you take money from.
Not all money is good money.
You got that right. And when I first started, I didn't know this, by the way. I didn't know this. I just thought, oh yeah, everybody, come in, let's invest. And then I got to realize, I want you to write this down. There's only one thing worse than crazy in which you have their money.
Yeah.
And so you do not want everybody's money. Okay. So I tell you all that to say, by building relationships, you ought to be vetting people out. I want you to shift the mindset. You're not asking for money. You're sharing opportunity. And we're going to talk about that a lot this next weekend here at the event. And I see Gene Davis in here. Gene, I saw you in the Facebook group, my friend. We're excited to have you at the event.
Oh yeah. Cool. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, my friend. So private lenders, man, what is this whole thing about lending? They get paid like a bank. And so they get a percentage on the deal, no matter if the deal is making money or not. Fix and flip, obviously the deal isn't making money while you have it. But they're going to earn throughout that deal. And that's a power from a lender, because they're like, hey, I'm going to make 6, 7, 8, 9%, whatever the percentage is. Chris, you can fill in there. What is a typical percentage for a lender right now?
It all depends, man. I know Mike, when Mike and I came together on this, his lenders are looking for the maximum rate of return and super high, right? So on the I'm sorry, your investors, but on the lender side,
yeah, right.
It's not really, they're not looking for the maximum rate of return. They're looking for a safe rate, a reasonable. I like to use the term reasonable rate of return.
Yep.
So if 6% is reasonable for you, hey, that's reasonable for me too.
Yeah,
it
sure.
really all depends on the relationship.
And you know what I've realized? We have used a couple lenders for specific deals recently we've done. And Chris, tell me, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of times lenders are just looking for more than whatever they're getting where their money's at.
Yeah, if you can give me, I'm getting 5 over here. Can you give me 6? Okay, cool. Boom, let's go.
Yeah, it's another point that I don't have to go work for, or
There you
I'm getting
go.
4 in my IRA, but you said you can get me 6, 7. Let's
Let's
swing
give it
it.
a
That's
shot.
perfect.
Give
Yep.
it a
And so
shot.
a lot of times they're just wanting more. And I wanna invite you to the wonderful world of learning money. I didn't
Mhm.
understand this when I became a private money guy.
It's
I
just a
actually had
product.
a
It's just a
yeah,
product. It's like a Coca-Cola. It's like a pet.
it
It's
is.
just a product in the store.
It is. But think about every product in the store, like Coca-Cola, has an award-winning recipe.
Mhm.
If you think about that, it's built with certain ingredients. And money, it's the same thing. Chris is 100% right. It's a product. But there's certain things that make it trade hands. There's certain things that make it turn into your bank account. There's certain things. And money, and you have to learn retirement accounts. Not everybody has what we call mattress money, just money sitting in under the mattress in the bank. A lot of people don't have that. They might have an IRA, or they might have an old 401k, or they might have some, but those are like the best investors ever, by the way.
Yeah, they are.
So these lenders, they get paid just like the bank. They're going to get paid an interest on money borrowed. So if you borrow 100,000 and Chris just mentioned 6%, you're going to pay 6,000, that's 6% per year to borrow their money. So Chris, when you give money back to the lender, are they like, okay, good, or do they keep lending to you over and over and over again?
Oh yeah, the first whenever that's like the worst day for one of my lenders. The worst day is when we pay him off because it's the
Yeah,
worst day
tell them
because then
why
they
that
let it
is.
go.
That's so funny. Tell them
It's
why
so
that
weird.
is.
I never forget my mentor used to say, "Chris, people are going to get mad when you give them back their money, right?" And I'm like, "What? Who would get mad at getting back a hundred?" I'm trying to tell y'all, man. I'm like inviting y'all over to this world. So when you
Yeah.
give them the money back, it's not working anymore. So see, I had to learn when you start dealing with the world of like large amounts of money, whole another set of problems and issues than being broke, right? So you got
Oh man.
you got problems and issues being broke, yes, but then when you get a bunch of capital, whole another set of issues pop up, and your money's not working is a huge issue.
Absolutely.
Unemployed money is what they call it. Is unemployed. Go to work.
Yeah, that's so true. And people hate, especially people that are trying to get a return on their money, they hate unemployed money.
Oh man,
They
they don't
hate it.
want that.
Um, they don't participate in the upside usually. They don't participate in the upside usually. So you don't
Mhm.
necessarily have to give them a percentage of the profit. Sometimes that can be structured, but not necessarily.
But Mike, I mean, in my opinion, all my lenders, I promise you, they're happy with their with what they're getting. I've never
Yeah,
had a lender say, you know what, Chris, this isn't right. I don't think you should pay me 6 or 7, whatever percentage. Every one of them have been happy.
totally, totally. Because again, and this is what's really important to know, they're comparing it to what they were getting, not what you're giving them. They're comparing.
Mhm.
So it's not that they're not comparing it to what they're not getting. Like, I was getting 4, but you're not giving me 8. They're like, dude, I was getting 4, you're giving me 6.
Let's
Let's
go.
go. And so you have to understand it. This is, and I'll be very transparent. This has been a hard thing for me to get my head around because of the world I live in. People are coming like, well, how much can you get me? I can get 15% over here. Can you give me? And so it took me a
Wow.
while to learn lenders don't think that way. And this is a really good psychology to understand. Chris has helped me understand this, because it's really important to know that not every investor is just trying to blow up their money in a year or two, right? It's
Mhm.
really good to know. Um, so with private lenders, we've done what's called IO or P&I. IO is interest only if we are paying them back. P&I is principal and interest, just like a bank. So you give that, you give them a payment back. Or there's actually another way where you just don't even make payments. You just give them one lump sum at the end with their return.
Yep.
Which is Chris, I think how you do it, right? At the end of your deals, you give them what they made when you had their money, right?
Yeah, we're gonna be teaching you guys something called a no payment loan, right? I
Yep.
don't even know if that was foreign to me when I first started out.
Mhm.
A no
I don't even know
payment
what they
loan.
thought. Like, a no payment loan? Come on, what?
Yeah, that didn't make sense. That didn't does not compute.
Nope,
So no
no idea.
payment loans. We're gonna teach you this stuff. You got to understand no payment loans because you got 2, 3, 4, 5 houses out there. Let's just say you're gonna use hard money. You're gonna make payments on that, or you might roll them in for a few months, but still, those payments they will come. But you
Yeah,
can structure private money to where you don't make any payments until you sell the property, and we'll show you how
yep,
to do that. We're gonna, that is that 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 has been You could have $4, $5, $6,000 going out a month on all these loans coming out, but if you got no outgo on debt servicing, I'm telling you, that pillow that nighttime is real soft, y'all.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's powerful. It's really powerful. This is cheaper money. So when you're doing this, now again, if you're doing a long-term hold and you're doing multifamily or you're doing some different assets, you're probably going to want to go the equity route just because of what people are looking for. But if you're doing these short-term or a single family home or even long-term, some lenders will do long-term because they're like, oh, I can guarantee my money is going to be used at 6% every year, so I'll loan you on your single family rental as long as I get 6% or on your sub 2 or whatever strategy you're using. Right. So it is cheaper money. And you can use them over and over and over again. Right. You can use them over and over and over again, which is powerful. I love that. I love lenders for short-term deals. I love lenders for short-term deals. Now, Chris, do you use lenders for long-term deals, or do you usually lease option and get those lenders out of those deals in a fairly short period of time?
Did both long-term or either way, long-term or short-term, doesn't matter to me.
There you go. Yeah. So you can do it for both. You can do it for both. I like it for short-term, but you can definitely do it for both. And this here was supposed to actually be low interest. So the reason I put this here, and I'm actually going to change that for y'all right there.
Yeah, you got paying high interest. We pay low interest.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I know.
And so it's low interest. Low interest. And what that means is it's much lower interest than a hard money loan. How many of you have played if you've never played the hard money loan game, you're going to love private money if you played the hard money loan game.
Scary game.
Hard money's going to say, I'm going to charge you, a $3,500 origination fee. And then I'm going to charge you, 12%. And then I'm going to charge you $500 every time I send an inspector out for this. And I'm going to charge you, and they're going to charge and charge and charge. And again, I don't want to, tick off hard money lenders, because when we get started, if that's all we can do, that's all we can do. So that's fine. It's all you got. So that's fine. But that's why, Chris, I want to teach us, because you don't have to be at the mercy of a hard money lender. You don't. And
the problem with hard money lenders, the main thing is everything has to go perfectly. See, let me tell y'all something, man. You can mess up. With private people, investors, you do have the opportunity to mess up. Sometimes I could tell you right now, back in 2010, 11, 12, not all of our deals sold at the right time. So say if I owed somebody $10,000 in interest, I had to make phone calls. Miss Smith, I can't get you 10,000, but it was 8,000. You tell somebody you're going to give their $80,000 back plus $8,000. They are going to come give you a hug. They're still happy. You can restructure this stuff, because sometimes things happen with real estate deals. But I promise you, with hard money lenders, they ain't going to want to hear nothing. So their money is due, fees, extensions, all that stuff. That's how it is. This their way of the highway. That's why with private money, you can kind of bend a little. And I'm not saying to take advantage of people, but if the deal didn't do, if you didn't make, $50,000, or you're only going to make $3 or $4,000, sometimes I've had to, believe it or not, y'all, I had to bring money to sell a house. I have to do that. That stuff does happen. Your lenders, they'll work with you, man, because you're honest. You had integrity. You're honest. You were upfront, and you move on to the next deal.
Yep. And when you're using private money, I've never not paid my bank back on a mortgage and said, hey, I tell you what, how about if I pay a little bit more on my next mortgage and I'll back you up? Like that doesn't happen with banks. But with a private lender, like Chris said, they say, hey, this deal didn't do as well, but on the next one, I'm going to give you a little bit more. I'm going to make sure I back it up. And lenders, they work with you. They're so cool about that stuff, And so this is, I can't explain it. If I could, shout a message louder than any other message in real estate, is when you can control the money, you control the game.
You're done. Yeah, you're done.
Yep. It's everything. And then it's just a matter of learning, what strategy do you like? You like sub 2, you like multifamily, you like whatever. You like fix and flip, whatever you like. Then it's just picking that and then raising money for that. But once you get the money game done, you grow as fast as you want to grow. And that's the power of this system when you come into this. This is one of our students that came in. He just this was back in October. I found a great deal. He just raised $300,000 over the weekend, just because he did a couple things to partner with these crazy things called private money. And this is Mary. You guys got to meet this girl. She's going to be at our event. We're actually going to talk to Mary. And she just sent a text the other day. In the past 24 hours, she raised 100,000 of the 150 she needed, just 50K to go. That message is actually out of date. She ended up raising 450,000 for that deal.
Mary
is already on to another deal that she's doing with a couple other students in our mastermind. So
she is a monster.
She's a monster. So we're going to interview her just so you all can see. But again, we just want you to see the power of this private money game. And there's one of the things that I love to, I want you to see this. And I put this big number in here because I want your mind to just grow, right? If people are raising $10 million or 100,000 or 500,000, it doesn't matter the number. I want you to understand it's just because that's where their mental set point is. That's where their mind is. And what Chris and I want to do at the Private Money Mastery event next weekend is we just want to expand your mind. We're trying to blow it up, just blow it up a little bit, just expand it to the fact that you could be asking people for money. And we really, really want you there. So yeah, Chris, let's talk a little bit about the Private Money Mastery event, brother.
Yeah, here you go. There we go, right on the screen there. So round up, homies, I got love for you. Mike and I have teamed up. He's the equity master, raising all this money for multifamily. I'm an expert in private lending for single family. I feel like we're giving a ton of value in my life right now. I'm like ton of value, little bit of money. Give me a ton of value, even if the value, whatever you're paying, you're going to get 10 times more value out of this, whatever dollar amount you give us, right?
Yes,
or you invest with us. So October 28th, 29th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're gonna have 2 full days with me and Mike. You're gonna actually meet one of my lenders, y'all. I'm gonna have him on so you can see. First of all, why did he decide to give me all this money? Like, who the hell just gives? And second, what do they look like? Because I just feel like they're like these ghosts where people don't quite understand what do these people look like? Are they
absolutely
old, young, are they Asian, whatever? So, and Mike, are you going to have one of your investors on too?
Yeah, I'm going to bring on one of my investors as well. And they're going to talk about the reason we wanted you to bring on our actual investors. So you can, number one, see, these aren't just fairies in the woods that we're talking about. These are real people, real everyday people. But the other thing is, I want you to understand from their perspective, why will they give you money? I want you to understand from the horse's mouth, as the saying goes, right from their mouth, people who have money, why will they give it to you? I want you to hear it right from them. And so you can take Chris and I's word for it. We're the ones going to get it. But what about people giving it? We want you to hear from people that actually give us money so that you can hear, oh, that's a really good point. I never thought about that. And different investors are going to tell different things that they look for before they give you money. And that's what we want you to see.
Different things.
Yep. And I think I didn't get that, Chris, when I first started. I treated every investor the same. Man, I lost out on a lot of money because of that.
Yeah, well, that's why I enjoy working with you. You're just strictly like, okay, here's the goal, boom, let's go for it. I mean, you're just solutions oriented, Everybody's different. Every lender is different. Some people like, man, I just want to get beat. I had one guy say, Chris, as long as we're beating inflation, I'm good, So everybody's different.
Yeah, as long as, because if I got my cash sitting over here making 4%, and I know that inflation's 8%, so I need to at least make 4% on that money. I need to make an 8 total just to beat inflation, so my cash ain't going down. I'm good.
Yeah, man. Everybody's different. That's why you just, once again, people business, you have to find out what it is they want. And I don't want you to think that, like I used to think, well, shoot, I don't know nobody. I don't know nobody got no money. Everybody I know broke. Everybody I know broke. That was the curse that I had. I promise y'all. I'm going to give you some stories where people that went from rags to rich. You don't know what people have until you open up your mouth and ask. So we're going to show you some of that stuff too, what to say to people.
Yeah. And one of the sessions that Chris and I are going to do that I'm excited about is we're literally just going to walk through the places you can help people find money.
Yeah, you go.
Like, actually, I mean, there's people that could invest in your deals, but they don't even know how to invest in your deals because they don't know where they can invest from. They don't even have a clue.
You could do that?
Yeah. We had a guy who refinanced one of his properties who, when the interest rates were really low at 3%, invested into a deal where he's making 6 to start plus upside. And so it's like, heck, yeah, that's perfect. Right. And so, but people don't think about that unless you teach them that. Right.
You have to educate people. I think
Yeah.
we should do a little bit of social media too, Mike. You know, I can't let y'all off the hook, man. We'll touch on that too because that's so important,
So
man.
true. And you know,
So,
it's funny, Chris, I never set out to be a social media person until I was kind of thrown into it, because it's just that so much connection happens on the internet with people.
mhm.
So much.
Especially with the virus and all that stuff, you had to be on the internet.
Oh,
So,
you did. You did. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and studies show that the top 5 people that people want a personal brand from, the number one person is their surgeon.
mm,
What that got me thinking of is people want to see somebody online before they give important things over to them, whether it's their life or
mm.
their money or whatever.
Oh
And
yeah,
so for you, starting to build that online, following what Chris is doing, and you know, is important, you know. And you
yep.
know, you might not want to. You're like, I just want to have dinner. I don't want to have the camera out. I get it. Believe me, I get it. I get
Well,
it.
that's just one. We're gonna talk. There's 3 different ways to do it, and I want to share with y'all. You do not have to have the camera on all the time like me. We're gonna get to 2 other ways where we can still raise money without having to be on camera all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to interview some amazing people, and Chris and I are going to be dropping some bombs. So again, it's October 28, 29, next Friday, Saturday. Just to let everybody know, the VIP, if you want to snag VIP, that goes up next Wednesday. So you still got 4 or 5 days, whatever that is, 5 days, something like that, to lock in, 6 days to lock in your VIP spot
Yeah.
at the current early bird rate. And you can lock
Yep.
in your VIP spot early bird and actually be in the Zoom room with Chris and I. And if you want that, lock that in before next Wednesday. You can lock in your VIP spot so before the early bird runs out.
Yeah, that's cool. So the registration is in the video description, my roundup homies. Just go right below, right there. And if you're watching this on Facebook, I'll put that in the comments. It's just gonna cost you Starbucks coffee. If you want VIP, it's just a tank of gas. You'll be in the room with us. You get a whole bunch of stuff we're giving away. I don't think you're gonna ever see this magnitude of stuff. Might convince me to give this away. It's just so much stuff. I'm past that stuff.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is the last time we're doing it
This
at
is
this
yeah.
price. Sure.
It's
You
just
know,
not worth my yeah,
no.
time.
Yeah.
But
We're doing this really to continue to spread this message. So lock in.
basically,
We'll see you. We will definitely you'll not see this game. And with
no.
inflation, by the way, it is cheaper than a Starbucks coffee, because I got a Starbucks coffee a few weeks ago and it was not this
How
price.
much? I haven't even been
Well,
anymore. How
dude,
much
you got
are
to get
they?
a small to get under $5 for a
Oh,
Starbucks coffee now. You got to get a tiny. You got to get a espresso shot, bro.
that
And
is
so
terrible. That is terrible.
yeah, man.
All right.
But
Get your private money game up. I would
let's
not
do
be
it.
here. Y'all wouldn't be following me if I didn't master private. I closed a $75,000 loan today. I'm going to show you how we did that. No credit. I don't even like. It's amazing to me. People like, I gotta wait to get my credit up, or what's the down payment? Like, I don't want you to have to actually live in that world, right? There's an entire world out there, roundup homies, that exists in parallel to this traditional, conventional world that we are all used to. It looks exactly the same, but it lives 180 degrees away from it. And so that's the world I want you to be in with us.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
No questions here? Somebody coming. Dathan, thank you for joining us, my friend.
Absolutely. Oh, Don B. Boom just signed up. Good to have you, brother.
Welcome, brother. Welcome, welcome. Vincent got the curse of no people. Don B, welcome. Thank you, my brother. Thanks for supporting us. Anything else we got to give him, Mike?
No, I think that just I did not know what changed on the other side of learning this skill. I just didn't even know. And so I want you all to know. I want you all to come hang out with Chris Knott for 2 days next week, Friday, Saturday. We're going to be rocking 10 to 3 Eastern. Love to have you all there.
Okay, round up. Subscribe to the channel, like the content, share with anybody else that's thinking about, have you ever thought about getting in real estate, but you just can't find the money? This is where we're going to show you how to find the money. This is the air under my wings, y'all. I can't tell you how many. And people, it's so ironic. When you turn into the person that knows how to properly borrow it, people will give it to you faster. Like when you don't know what you're doing and you don't have any wisdom, money kind of runs from you. But when you learn the skill and the art of raising it, you kind of turn yourself magnetic to it. Would you agree with that, Mike?
100%, bro. Yeah, when you learn how to do that and you learn how to talk to people about it and think about it,
And Wayne Beckett. William
You
Bennett.
don't ask a lot for money. It just comes to you. It continues to come to you. And I know that right now you're thinking, yeah, right. Believe me, I thought the same thing. I thought the
I heard
same
that.
thing.
I heard the same people say that same. I'm like, when I heard my mentor's like, what people? I don't believe you.
Yeah, I know. I did the same thing.
I don't
I'm like,
believe you.
people are just going to give me money. Yeah. Under what? Under how much weed they going to smoke to be able to do that? I'm like, that is not going to happen. But it
Oh,
does. But it
so
happens
true.
because you understand things they don't. They can actually make money without having to do any of the work, and you're bringing a big value.
Yeah. And they want to see you succeed, man. That's right. You got to take the, there you go. Take the right
Taking the
pill.
red pill. I love it. I
All
love
right,
it.
y'all. Round up. I have much love for you, and stay tuned. The video's coming out. We're going to show you pictures of the new property, the one we're
Ooh.
building. Mike's helped me. Mike, thank you so much for all your construction experience.
Oh, absolutely, man. No, I'm excited, man. Breaking ground. That's always the hardest part. Once you broke ground, then it starts to clip along a little bit faster.
Whew, man. All right, y'all. See you soon. Get registered up in the
Take care,
video
everybody.
description. VIP early bird special ends in a few days, so get in
Yep.
now. Peace.